Good day, everybody. Welcome back to the flight deck. We're here to continue our tour of the U.S. capitals. We're in Madison, Wisconsin currently, and we're going to be flying from here up to St. Paul, Minnesota. As you can see, we have had an aircraft switch. We are now going to be flying the de Havilland Canada Dash-7, a 4-engine turboprop commuter plane. And we're still flying for Allegheny, this time Allegheny commuter. So let's get on board and get her up and ready to go. Alright, we're on board the aircraft. This is the, not my first time flying it. I've done a couple test flights, but still fairly new at it. So it may take a little bit to get a better handle on it. So I may be slightly slow as we go through the checklists. But it should all be good. So fueling and payload numbers are in. Let's run through our cockpit prep, our cockpit safety checks. So we'll come down here. The parking brake is in park. Throttle levers are in flight idle. Control lock is now on. Condition levers are all in fuel shutoff. Flap lever is up and indicating up. I'll pop up top now. Batteries are off. Wipers are off. Make sure the heater is off. And we've already done the check on the circuit breakers. Weather radar is non-operational, and the oxygen mask and everything are good as well. Alright, so we are ready to begin our check through as we go through everything. So as we do that, we can get boarding started.
Boarding requested.
And who's going to handle our boarding today? Who doesn't want us to do it? United Airlines, sure. United Airlines can handle our boarding for today. So let's go back up top. We're going to come over here. So battery master is going to come on. AC generator control, DC generator control are both going to come on as well. Left and right batteries are now on. DC.
Do you want a board crew?
No.
Passengers bus is coming.
DC external power is now on. And the DC load has come on as well. Bus ties are closed. DC generators 1 to 4 are off. I'm going to pop up a little further up top. Flight data recorder is set to normal, and the emergency locator transponder is now set to auto. Internal lights, we're going to go halfway on the internal lights. These give us a little bit of background illumination on all the panels and make it a little bit easier to see. Passengers are now coming on board. So the fuel T-handles are pushed in. Fire and smoke tests are all good and complete. Get that light off there. Not sure why that's on. So we're going to come back up again here. Windshield heat off. Wipers are off. Airframe de-icers are all off. Pedostatic accessory stall warning and elevator heaters are off. Propeller de-icers are off. Battery temperature, we can come up here and test. When we push that in, we should see the temperature rising. We do. So that is a good test. Position lights will now come on to on. And ignition, engine ignition 1 through 4 is all set to normal. Auxiliary fuel pumps 1 through 4 are off. Fuel transfer is off and all tanks closed. Fuel quantity is looking good. Engine start switch is off and engine start select is off. Cabin pressure control is set to auto. And is good. AC external power is off. Inverter is on left bus. AC generators 1 through 4 are off. Engine bleeds 1 through 4 are off. Temperature controls are auto and set. Fasten seatbelt signs are on. No smoking sign is on, and seatbelts are armed. Down to the glare shield. We can come in here now. Clock is correct. It is 13:35 local time. Flight taxi switch is set to taxi. GPWS test is good. We couldn't find that anywhere actually. Yaw damper is normal and is guarded. Flight director test. Both flight directors are on, and then back to standby. PFCS switches are normal, which are lights out. Autopilot system is set to captain's. Caution lights. Test, that's good. And advisory lights are good. Synchrophase is set. Anti-skid is on. Come over to the main panel. Steering is on. That's checked. Flight instruments are checked. Altimeter. We'll get our current weather here for Madison. We're loading bags right now outside, as we can hear. So current weather in Madison, winds are variable at 5 knots, 10 miles of visibility, few clouds at 25,000 feet, 4 degrees, and 2983 is the current barrow. So we'll go 2983 is set. And we're going to have to do that manually for both sides. 2983 is set there as well. DME, let's get rid of that for a second. Turn on DME, that's good. And there's one on the other side as well. Compass is slaved. Hydraulic quantity and hydraulic pressure is good. Static source selector is set to normal. Alright, altitude pre-select. We're going to set to our cruise altitude, which today is, let me just pull up my flight plan, 12,000 feet. That's 1,200, and we'll just crank that around. It's going to take a second. This is a fun airplane to fly. A lot of hands-on with it. Not a lot of automation and no GPS. So we'll be flying radials from VORs for our course today. And unfortunately, the weather radar doesn't work either. So that's an issue. So propeller auto feather is off. Engine intake deflectors are retracted. Engine instruments are all checked. Everything is looking good. Landing gear horn mute test is over here. That's good. See, it's all lit up there. Pitch and roll handles are in. Weather radar is not working. Transponder, we are going to be squawking 2,000. Sounds like everything is on board. Comms and radios. We're going to come down here to our comm panel. We're going to set 22.8, which is our standard for, there we go, 22.8, which is our standard Unicom channel. And over on the other side, it's going to be 21. It's hard to see with those levers down. I think that was an 8. We're going to go down to 50. There we go. If we pull that one up, we can change that over. 21.5 guard channel. We're going to be monitoring there. GPS CDI source. We're not running GPSs. We don't have to worry about that as well. Flight instruments on the FO side. Roll, spoiler, gauge is good, and avionics cooling should be set to auto. Let's just come up here where I can see. Avionics cooling is auto is good. Circuit breaker, that's good, and that is good there. All right. So down to the pedestal we go. Parking brake is set. Throttle levers flight idle. Control lock engaged. Ignition levers are in shut off. Flaps are selected. Up flight idle gate is open. That light should actually be on. Unfortunately, it doesn't do it, but that's fine. Autopilot and yaw dampers are off. Trims are set for takeoff. ATIS, we got the weather. Hey, Brian, how you doing? Happy Wednesday to you too. And ATC clearance. We're on multiplayer, but we'll take it as we have our clearance to fly. It's about a 1-hour flight up to St. Paul, Minnesota, so it shouldn't be too bad. So everyone should be on board, and all the doors are closed almost, and we have the baggage done. So they are all set aside there. So what we're going to do is, because there's no way to do this except this way, is we're going to quickly pop out, swing down to the back of the airplane. I should set up a view for this, and we will close the door. I'm just going to see if I do have a view. I'm going to use that one there. Yeah, so I can come back there if I need to. All right, so that is the door closed on the outside. So we're up to our before engine start. So takeoff data and speeds, we have our takeoff data. It's about 110 knots or so. Doors and windows are closed. We'll come up top. Anti-collision light will go to red. That is our beacon. Parking brake is secure. Power levers. Again, multiple checks on this stuff. Flight idle, condition levers are fuel shut off. We're going to come up top now to the generators. All 4 DC generators are going to come on. That is good. All right, so we can get ourselves ready to go here. And
we're ready to go when you are.
Oh, there we go. Ready to go for the push. So we are going to be doing a pushback. We're going to go back, tail to the right, tail to the left, nose to the right, because we're going to be heading out that way when we taxi.
In front of you. Unless you're in the front row, please place all of your items in the overhead bins. If you have any trouble finding locations
do I want de-icing? No, it's clear skies.
Icing conditions, please stand by for engine
After
start
you put your
until
carry-on
push is
items in
completed
the
and brakes
overhead
are set.
bin and it is full, make sure you close it as a courtesy to other passengers. Also be sure that the aisle is clear and sit down so that way other passengers can get by you. If you are seated in an emergency exit row, please review the exit
Alright,
seating
so we're going to be doing a battery
responsibilities
start.
and safety cards provided for you.
Hello,
Please
Captain.
ensure that
We
you
are
are
ready
able
for
and willing
pushback.
to perform these actions. If you're not, please let a flight attendant know so that way you can be reseated. Now it's time
Alright,
to get out any
so
last
I do
minute
have
messages.
a profile set for GSX, so everything should work to the points where they should be going.
Departure checks completed. Bypass pin inserted.
It is a little weird that they walk into the aircraft rather than duck down, but not much we can do about that.
And 5 minutes.
So tow is
Please note
coming
the cabin
in.
doors now closed. We ask that you make sure that all devices are in airplane mode and your larger devices are now shut down and stowed. If you
So
have
the
not
emergency
already,
brake
please
is
fasten
on.
your
We're going to
seatbelt
come
and
up
verify
top
it is
here
low
and we're
tight
going
across
to
your lap.
disconnect the
Your
external
safety
power.
emergency seat backs must be in the full upright and locked position for departure.
No, I don't have a
Passengers,
Dash-8.
prepare doors for
I just got this
departure, cross-check,
Dash-7
verify straps,
and the
stand by for all
ATR.
Locking gear.
So external power, we're going to disconnect. Ground checks are all done, and we're waiting on the pushback now. I wish I had a Dash-8. Majestic is apparently bringing their one in, but no word on when that's going to be happening. So we're going to go nose right, tail left,
Release parking brakes, please.
and we'll release the parking brakes.
Commencing push.
parking brakes are
Due
released.
to icing conditions, please stand by for engine start until push is completed and brakes are set.
I guess they got a little bit of ice on the ground. They don't want us to push against the tug with the engines as we're firing up. But there we go. As mentioned, we are still flying the Allegheny colors, although a little bit more. We're in the 70s, early 80s now with the aircraft. And I was talking to Kevin about this. The interesting thing is I used to work on these airplanes. Used to one of my first jobs out of high school was with a commuter airline that flew out of the Toronto Island Airport flying Dash-7s. And they had a couple of the first Dash-8 100s as well. And it was interesting time. Why are you going that way? Did I tell you to go that way? My mistake. That's okay. We can swing around once we're in position here. But it was a fun time,
To start the flow of oxygen, pull the
and
mask towards you.
had some
Place it
interesting
firmly over your
experiences
nose and
there.
mouth, and secure the elastic band behind your head.
So we're going to be starting the engines in order. It's going to be engine 3, 4, then 2,
If you're
then
traveling
1.
with a child or someone who requires assistance, secure your mask first and then assist others. Keep your mask on until a member of the crew advises you it's safe to remove it. In the event that the pilot decides to take us for a swim, fashionable life
having a
vest is
Q400
located
would be
in the
nice. I
pouch
flew it a lot
underneath
in
the armrest. When
FSX.
instructed to do so, open the plastic pouch and remove
It'd be
the
nice
vest.
to have it back
Flip it
again.
over your head. Wrap the straps around your...
I'm not sure where these guys are pushing me to. I mean, he's still walking back. Well, I've been on some long pushes. And we're getting down onto the line here. He hasn't stopped, so I'm not sure exactly where he's going. Let's call it here. Yeah, we'll call it here. And we'll get the brakes on.
Please set parking brakes.
Okay, brakes are set. So we're good for engine start. So we're going to come up top. So start selector is going to go to engine 3. Clear 3 and starting. There's engine 3 starting to rotate. So if we come down, we're looking for our NG to hit 70%, which he or 20%, which he has now done. So we're going to grab fuel for engine 3 and move it up into the feather position. And the engine is starting. So once this goes up to 70, we can stop the starter and move on to the next engine. So we're up to 70. We can disengage the starter. We'll switch over to engine number 4 and we'll start 4. Once again, we're going to pop down. We're watching the NG rise. We hit 20. We'll come up and add fuel. Yeah, a lot of they do a lot of in place starts and then just do a rotational swing. I think the real aircraft are a lot easier to turn on a dime like in place than these things are in the sim. They tend to stick a little bit and don't quite turn as they should. There's 70. Stop that. Quick look outside. There's the 2 engines up and running. we'll switch over here to the left side of the aircraft. There's engine 2. Starting engine 2.
We're ready for departure.
Cabin's ready. There we go. We'll add fuel. There we go. She's coming up. There's 70 on the NG. Starter stopped. Over to engine 1. Starting engine 1. Again, watching the NG. She comes up to that 20%. Adding fuel. And there we go, 70%. Start switch is off. And we can select to 0. Yeah, I can see that. I had a great place the last time I was over in London. I was staying right on the airfield, and my window looked over part of the terminal, and I can see them parking A380s and all that. So I saw British ones, Emirates, and Qantas A380s coming and going. That was pretty cool. All right, with that up and going, we can tell them to complete. We'll just abort, have them go away, since we're up and going and they were all out of position anyway. So there's a good. So start selector is, let's go up top here. Start selector is off. DC external power is confirmed off. DC volts and load is good. Battery temperature is checked. We're good there. AC generators, all 4 now coming online for AC power. Engine bleeds are coming on for the air inside the aircraft. Pop down here. Flight directors on both sides are now on. PFCS lights are off. Propeller auto feather is cell green. Engine intakes are retracted. Those are the deflectors. We're not on gravel, so we're okay. Engine instruments are checked. We're looking good across the board. Hydraulic pressures and quantities are all good. Flaps for takeoff is going to be flaps 10. Or sorry, flaps 15, first notch. Flight controls are good. Elevator trim is set for takeoff. We're in the takeoff band. Yaw damper is on. De-ice pressure is good. Ground equipment is removed. Condition levers 1 and 4, we're going to come up on them to low flow for idle. We can hear them starting to come up. Now, for our navigation, we are going to be doing VOR navigation. I'm going to, while the engines are settling in at the higher level, I'm going to come into here and pick up my frequencies for the nav. Alright, so we are going to the first VOR, which is going to be the DLL VOR on a frequency of 117. So we're going to dial that in here directly. 117 is, come on, set. The next one is going to be 117.9, which is the ODI VOR, which is now set in there. And we're going to come over to nav 2, and this is going to become 1179. And then the next one after that will be the FGT VOR, the last one, 1157. And that is set in there. So on the DME device here for distance measuring, we're going to turn it on to knots, and we're going to make sure he is on nav 2, so that will show that one. And we're going to crop to my side and turn it on to knots, and it's going to go nav 1 to show on my side. So on takeoff, we're going to be heading down to the Del VOR, which is 30 miles away, and we want a heading of 318. Okay, so we're going to come down here, and we're going to select 318 on our VOR needle. That's what we should be tracking. And on our departure, we are going off on runway 32, given that the winds are variable and it's close by and it's not going to be a big deal. So the runway heading for runway 32 is going to be 319. So we're going to set that to 319. That's Molly sleeping behind me, making some noises. So that is our nav all set up for our first VOR as we head out. Alright, we are ready for taxi. So we're going to come, taxi light is right here. Taxi light is now on. And we'll check the flaps, flight instruments, and brake test as we go. So manual brakes are on. And parking brake is released. Alright, so brakes work. Now, having the inner engines in feather and the outer engines in low power seem to work good for idling speed. That's what we found with a little bit of testing. So we're doing that pirouette in place, and we're going to taxi out. The end of the runway is right there, so it's not far at all. The cabin said they were ready to go, so that's good. Okay, there should be... There, that's the view I set up. So we're going to taxi out now. I'm trying to remember the views for this thing. We're looking good. So we're taxiing here from the South Cargo Apron. That's since we're special flight, and we're heading over to runway 32, which is right here, as you can see, with the wind almost straight down the runway in this snowy Minnesota, or sorry, Wisconsin. All right, we'll get ourselves stopped up here, and we'll do our final check. I don't hate it when the weather updates like that. It's done that a couple times now, in and out with the snow. All right, let's get the parking brake on, and then we can do our before takeoff checks. Alright, so windshield heat is going to go to warm up. Pedostatic, stall, and elevator heats are all going to come on. These are our heats on the instruments. Engine bleeds are confirmed in low. Ignitions are all in normal. Flight control is going into flight mode. Auto feather is cell green. Engine intake deflectors are all retracted. Control lock is now removed. Condition levers on all engines now going up to max power. flaps are set 15 and checked. Flight controls are checked. Elevator trim set for takeoff. Caution lights are checked. It's just ground since we're on the ground. And in flight mode, that is fine. Cabin is ready. We don't have a ding for them, unfortunately. So for takeoff, we're going to go out. We're going to line up on the brakes. We're going to bring all... Make sure, well, I'll do it as we do it. We can do it slowly. We're not in a rush. Approach path is clear. Let's taxi out. And she really wants to roll. You can see the ground spoilers are up. They'll close as we take off. And there we are lined up. Alright, so line up and brake. Confirm all 4 condition levers are on max, which they are. Confirm the engine intake deflectors are set as required. They are retracted. Power levers are going to come up to 32 inches on the power. There's a little bit of hesitation here as we do it, so we have to not get too far ahead of it. We're going to slowly bring them up. There's 21. They're the top gauges there. There's 27, 28. There's 32 coming up. And auto feather has armed. Yellow arming is on. Now we're going to bring the engines up to 48, or as close as we can, given the air temperature and pressure. I usually get about 43. There we go, 44.4 today. Power levers are fully maxed out. So we're going to release the brakes, and we'll rotate at about 100, and we'll start working our way up into cruise. Gyros are set, and we are good to go. Brakes are released. Airspeed's alive. She takes off like a rocket. This is a short takeoff and landing aircraft, as you can see. And she'll get up and get on pretty quickly. .100 knots, a little bit of back pressure. And up we go. Positive rate, gear coming up. A lot of back pressure at the moment. Bit of trim in there, get some of that back pressure out. We're over 400 feet, flaps will come up. Alright, there we go. So we're going to accelerate to our climb speed of about 150. This is fine. Working that nose down, and then we'll set climb power. Alright, so we're going to come down, we're going to turn the autopilot on, although we have no mode selected yet. I want to get the speed down to that 150. That's close enough. So we're going to go to indicated airspeed mode, and we are going to go into nav mode, and we're now going to go track the needle as we head out to the DLL VOR. We're going to be climbing up to 12,000 feet, and we're going to set our climb power. So we're going to reduce our arms, our RPMs, which is the second gauge set down to 107. It's the wrong one. This is the one I want. We're going to bring that down to 107, roughly, for all 4 engines. And then we're going to bring the power levers back to 3500, 3500. Oh, sorry, 44. Doing them in the wrong order here. Just right about there. It's good enough. So we're climbing at 150 knots, and we are at our climb power, just a slight hair back. And we're going to maintain that all the way up to 12,000 feet. So after takeoff, climb power is set, landing gear is confirmed up, and lights are out, flaps are confirmed up, auto feather is set, that's fine. Engine was already retracted, we don't have to worry about that. Flight idle gate has gone in, that is good. Taxi light is now on. Ooh, didn't turn on the landing lights. Apologies for that. Ignition is as requested. Auxiliary fuel pumps, which should have been on, are now off. Engine bleeds are low. Cabin controls are fine. Pressurizing is fine. Altimeters will stay in local mode since we're not going through transition. But at 10,000 we'll come off the landing lights and the passenger sides. There's the view. It's not too bad. Got a couple different views set up. Got a 2 on each side. And there's the view of the cabin. All right, 7,000 feet coming up. We are tracking that VOR now. Got a little bit of a nudge with the wind coming in from the left, but we're looking pretty good. So if we look down here at our DME, see we're 22.3 miles out from the VOR, and we have a current ground speed of 130 knots. So we're kind of into the wind a bit at the moment. But that's fine. We could also turn it over to minutes. That tells us we're 9 minutes out. If we look over here, we can see that we are 107 miles from the next VOR. And relative to it, because we're not tracking directly towards it, it's showing a lower ground speed, which is fine. Actually, we'll put that one to minutes just because it's a little off. It's reading how quickly we're approaching it, and since we're flying at an angle to it, it's not showing it exactly. We'll come down here. We're going to turn on. There's the VOR for that one and the VOR for that one. We can do the same over here. And his needle's off because I haven't set it up. His route is actually going to, or his angle is going to be 287. So we can dial his in. So it's almost there. You can See, we're 287. That should be. Yep. Coming in on an angle towards that VOR as well.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have now passed 10,000 feet. You may now turn on your
Alright,
larger
so
portable electronic devices.
landing
It is
lights
also
are
a reminder
off.
to please keep your seatbelt fastened while you're seated and do not
Seatbelt
congregate in the
sign
galley or near
is
the lavatory.
off.
The flight crew has turned off the fasten seatbelt sign. You can now get up and move about the cabin. However, we ask that you keep your seatbelt fastened when seated in case of unexpected turbulence.
There's 11,000 feet. Their ground speed's picked up a little bit. We'll see how it does when we start to level out. So we're going to go alt cell. That's going to be our, it'll select our altitude that we have here. Alt here is altitude hold for whatever altitude we're currently at. And we have vertical speed mode, and then up on top, of course, we got heading, approach mode, VOR, RNAV, if we were running RNAVs, but we don't have a GPS, so we can't do that. Back course and stuff for those NDB VOR approaches. So we're starting to level off now for 12,000 feet. See some snow down there on the ground. And as we level off, we're going to look at going into cruise power. So we're going to set power based on fuel consumption in this aircraft. So we're not doing long range, we're only doing an hour-long flight. So we're going to be at intermediate cruise power at 12,000 feet. We're going to want 300 pounds per hour per engine. So that's what we're going to set up for. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to do our engine RPM to 107, which it already is. You can see that's the numbers there. It's our propeller RPM. We're going to reduce our power down to 3,500. Or 350. Make sure we don't go too far, and we're a little even. It's tricky to get it right on with these things. We're going to make sure our condition levers are staying at 107, which it is. And then we're going to set the power based on our fuel flow. So if we come down here and we look at our fuel flow, I said we wanted 300. So on both engines, we're going to notch the power up until we get 300 gallons per hour per engine. And there we go. That is cruise power set. We're now doing 150 knot ground speed. So we're into a little bit of a headwind here. And we're 8.8 miles out from the VOR, but we are configured now in cruise. And there we are. Haven't done any real short takeoff and landings in this thing yet. I did two practice flights. The first was a short one out of Toronto Island where I picked up the aircraft. Flew it over to London, Ontario, and then from London, Ontario, we did a longer flight where brought it all the way over to Madison, Wisconsin. So that was a nice cruise flight on that one to get used to everything and where everything is and how it all works, and that went very well. So we're almost at the Dells VOR. Okay, Brian, yeah, head out. Thanks for coming by and watching, and we'll see you Friday for the first leg of the Christmas stream, the Christmas series. Yeah, that'll be good. Have a great day. Take care. Unfortunately, with this type of aircraft, there is no in-flight entertainment. books. You read the airline magazine, I guess. Alright, so there's 4.5 miles coming up. So what we're going to do is we're going to switch over to heading mode. We're going to come down here, and in the window we're going to tune in the next heading, which is 287. That's what we want. And then we're going to switch over to the next VOR, and then we can go back into nav mode, and we're now going to turn and follow the VOR. And we're 90 miles out from that VOR. Turn onto the radial, and there we go. So then we will line this up with the radial so that when we need it, we are good there, and we can reset our next frequency. So we're going from 117.9 to 115.7, so we'll get that dialed in. There's 115.7. We can come over here to his side. We're going to switch over on that one, which we're not picking up yet. Then we're going to be flying off to the next VOR on 296 heading. So we'll enter that in there. So it is ready to go. So 296 is set, so we know where that one's going to be when we get there. I am going to also be plugging in the ILS just as a reference for when we do get there, so we have it nice and handy. So we do have to deal with gyro drift as well, so that is something we've got to play with, but we're getting a little bit of a push. We're moving slightly from left to right. That is good there. So the ILS frequency when we get there, as the weather is looking, well, how is the weather looking? Haven't looked at it in a bit. So it has updated. Winds are out of the west, 260 at 7, the skies are clear. So that will put us in on we're not going to do 27. We're going to be landing on 32. Not a big airport. We're looking at a 6 volley. Kids are coming home from school in the building, and she's picking up on them. Hey, lie down. So runway 32 is what we're going to be landing on, and we're going to set up for the ILS there. She's become quite the guard dog. ILS runway 32, there we go. So it looks like a nice landing. The airport's right beside a river, so that should be pretty good. We're gonna have to go down to 2,500 feet for the intercept. Well, we got a little bit to go before we get there. And this is it. You can see our barber pole has changed to show, we're not that far below our max speed. I don't think the Dash-7 was ever a fast airplane, but it was a nice commuter that could get into smaller places. Those 4 Pratt & Whitneys giving it plenty of power. just going to cruise along here at 12,000 feet. 77 miles to the next VOR, which is the, let me get the name of it, the Nodine VOR. As we kind of come across Wisconsin farm country. Assuming it's all cattle farms and stuff down there. Alright, so starting on Friday, we are commencing our Christmas series. 15 flights. Last flight taking place on the 24th of December, and we'll be flying in Northern Europe. We're flying the 737-800, and we'll be visiting airfields all over there, and we're drawing a Christmas tree in the sky, so it should be pretty cool by the time we've finished and ended the series. More than welcome to come along. All the flights will be on VATSIM. The flights taking place on the weekdays will be on at 1930 Zulu. The flights taking place on the Saturdays and Sundays, the weekends, will be at 1400 Zulu. So a combination of day and night flights for that series. Let's take a look at our fuel. Yeah, fuel's looking good. Everything is looking good. No cautions, no warnings. This is all good. There's our dome light and storm light. There's the dome, and then the storm lights. Not sure what that does, but never actually used a storm light. The one thing I wish this did have was a working weather radar. It unfortunately does not, and that's what would be here. You can get this with the GPS units. They would be mounted up in here. Not much point as far as I'm concerned, because this is the way they flew them back then. It was all done the VOR-based navigation, and it was good enough for them, and it works for me. And we should be keeping this aircraft going for the rest of the series as we continue our tour of the flying to all the state capitals in the lower 48. Hey, Steve. Yeah, you should be able to get it on, like, Wikipedia, list of U.S. state capitals, or just search on Google U.S. state capitals. They're not what you think they are, and that's the thing. I knew some of them weren't, but yeah, there's a lot you kind of go, really, that's the state capital? When there's another bigger one that you know of, but yeah, we started, this is the 21st leg we're doing. We started this up in New England, and those were nice short flights, 25-minute, 30-minute flights between the capitals there. But as we head further west and the states get bigger, we're facing hour and a half long flights and stuff. But yeah, a quick Google search should bring it up. Being from the UK, not completely knowledgeable about that. Well, even a lot of Americans aren't knowledgeable about all their state capitals. You might as well ask somebody outside the UK where all the counties or the shires are in England. But it's a nice one. I figured it'd be a good way to see the U.S. and fly around. And we're not too high up. we're getting the weather here. As you can see, snow on the ground. I do run Rex Seasons, the new advanced one, so we are seeing the color changes, and we've had some beautiful red leaves and everything on the trees, which are now starting to disappear. So it's been pretty good. Get some nice visuals as we do this. Had some interesting weather as well, so. Oh, looks like I left the chat up high again. Gotta see if I can do something so that I'll remember to move it. There we go. Alright, so we're 60 miles away from the Nodine one. What was really nice is I have the Orbex Washington landmarks, and for that one we were flying the DC-3, and so when we came in I did the river visual, and it was nice flying down the Potomac and seeing the state capitol and the memorial and everything, considering I'd just been there in July and walked around that whole area and saw it all in person. It was kind of neat to be able to do this, and that's why I like doing this, seeing some of the states I've been to and seeing the countryside again, and then some of them I haven't. So it's going to be an interesting look down on them. And you can see looking out, we're starting to get, I've got it loading in the new texture files for the ground and everything, so the ground's starting to wash out and I can't really do it that way, wash out in colors, and you're starting to see like the browns and stuff. The greens are getting very muted now, and the browns are starting to come in, so the winter colors. It's just pretty cool. So where are we? We're 55 miles out from the VOR now. We got a ground speed of 158. So the wind's not as much in our face, I guess. Or it's slacked off slightly. So we're only 12 knots slower than our indicated airspeed, so we're not doing too bad there. We are traveling westward, so obviously we're going to be flying into the prevailing winds here in the northern hemisphere. Speaking of which, if I just do a quick weather look on, yeah, so we're clear precipitation wise around us. If we bring up cloud cover, clear here as well, though we should be running into the edge of a cloud system as we come up to St. Paul by the looks of it. And the winds are pretty much head on at the moment, but they've lightened up a little bit, so it's not that bad. It's a lot stronger to the north of us, and it's less to the south, so it's pretty good. We are, what do we got? We got a low pressure, yeah, we got a pretty good low pressure zone up over northern Canada. The high pressure zone is over well, it's almost over New Orleans. So we're kind of in the middle of that at the moment, so it's not too bad there. We're not facing any icing today, which is good news. No turbulence indicated, and no. We got significant stuff happening behind us, but nothing where we are, so we look all good. weather is not an issue for us on this flight. I was just using Navigraph's weather function there. It's pretty good to flip through it. I took a look at their new FAA sectionals. Yeah, they look exactly like the charts I used to get when I was flying in real life. A lot more information, pretty cluttered. Of course, they're VFR charts, so all the towers are on there and height obstructions and a lot more information about roads and everything. I still prefer to use the VFR mode in Navigraph. It just cleans it up a little bit less information there that we don't quite need. And it looks like we're coming up for is this the yes, we're going to be crossing the Mississippi at La Crosse. Yeah, we can just start picking it up outside. Yeah, go up and take a look. So get over there. That's the Mississippi River. You can see it running along here. It's kind of the divide between East and West in the U.S. Just gonna look at our approach for today. Got some very nice terrain coming up, nice rolling hills. Got the next VOR is kicked in. And that is the one when we turn off of that VOR, which is 136 miles away, we're going to be heading off on vectors to do our intercept on the ILS. We'll be landing on flaps 25. Now we'll go flaps 45, full flaps for landing. It is a shorter runway. We still got some time. There's speeds come up 157 and we're showing 100 to 60, so that wind is dying down a little bit more. We'll see how that lasts. Still burning 300 pounds an hour per engine, and our fuel is still looking good. It's interesting, the inner engines burn more than the outer ones, and number one burns the least of all of them. So, little quirk of the aircraft. Very nice model. A couple things still not working 100% in it, but it's good enough. A lot of fun. strangely enough, it is not any faster than the DC3. Just has a good working autopilot. So annunciator board is clear, and everything is looking really, really good. I'm happy. All right, 15 miles out. Once again, when we get within 3 or 4 miles, we'll do the switch over. See how our track on the needle has changed slightly, so we are getting a bit of a push where we're having to correct. I know that's our radial reading. I'm not sure what this reading is. I'm not sure if that's a DME as well, or a less accurate DME. Could be. Because it is counting down. And we've got it on both sides, different numbers. So we're coming up to the town here. Here's the town airport on the island. This is the Mississippi River. And we're going to cross over. St. Paul is on the Mississippi, and we'll be landing right alongside it when we get there. For now, we're going to fly over. The VOR is over here on this little bit of land, and then we're going to be heading off in kind of that direction. We are on multiplayer. Unfortunately, not seeing anyone around. Yeah, airspace is pretty quiet. I can see the terrain down there. About 18 miles to go to the VOR. It's neat how you find these little gauges here and there. We got a little turn and bank coordinator here. And if you look here, there's a little high-low and the what I assume would be the glide slope. A little indicator there to give you a hand with your positioning. radio altimeter. And everything else. And we're just cruising along. We get a little bit of music going here. Let's put this up to 20. Come in here to the music. Different categories here. Let's go with something a little relaxed. I'm not sure what will be in the rest of that playlist, but it will do for now. Alright. So we're expected to arrive in about 50 minutes. I think we'll just sit back, relax, and enjoy once we make this turn. Our last nice full run out. See how we get on. We're 6 miles out, so we're going to go to heading mode. We'll maintain this heading. I'm going to swap over to 1157, and then we are going to turn to 296 is the one we want. Wait for that to come in, and when that's in a little bit tighter, we'll hit nav, and that will get us off on that radio. I'm going to tune in the ILS frequency now, and that is going to be 111.5. So that is now in 1115. Decision height for the ILS is going to be, again, it's the absolute altitude, so we're going to set 307 feet because that's what it says it is. So there's roughly 307 feet. So that's our ILS frequency. And decision height. Course will be 326 when we get there. We're getting pretty close, so we'll go into nav mode again, and we'll just let the aircraft find its way onto the radio. It's turning to close it up a little bit quicker. We're 97 miles out. And we're going to begin our top of descent probably about 10-15 miles out from that VOR. Should be intercepting any second and making that turn. There we go. We're now tracking. And there's the Mississippi River flowing along beside us. Do an adjustment on our altitude, or our altimeter, 2978. Let's bring us down in line with the local pressure. It'd be nice to get some clouds out there. A few clouds. Make the sky more interesting. Looks like we lost the data feed for Navigraph. All the maps have pretty much gone blank. got the information we need. $80 miles to go. 60 miles out. We're going to start down in about 15 miles out, so about 45 miles to go. Just enjoying our cruise here. Fuel burn is looking really good. Fuel in tanks is looking fine. Engine instruments are all good. Our torque to our prop RPMs, temperatures, fuel burn, all in the green. Tracking up to the Farmington Vortac with no issues.
Hey, can we get something to drink up here?
You got it.
We're 38 miles out. As mentioned, we're going to start about 15 miles out. We'll begin our descent. So that's about another 20 miles to go. We're heading into the Farmington VOR as mentioned. Then we're going to make a right turn to about 040 degrees. That'll take us out to where we can turn inbound to intercept the ILS for runway 32 at St. Paul. It's the longer of the runways, but still only 6,500 feet long. And we'll be heading up to the far end and going to the GA transient ramp. Our descent will be going down at about 1,000 feet per minute. And we will manually set that up. Go into vertical speed mode, and then down here we have a pitch wheel we can use to set our descent rate. Sun coming down. Should be just before sunset when we're on the ground. We're looking good. And we can see the Mississippi off in the distance here. Looking good. So again, the instruments are all looking good. Fuel burn is right where we want it. Got a ground speed of 160. And a little bit of a wind we're flying into, but it's not too bad. It's about 13 miles to go for top of descent. And we're going to be descending down to 2,500. We're going to start our initial descent down to the MSA, which is 3,500, and then we'll adjust from there. So in this approach, if we have to do it, we're going to climb to 1,300 feet and right turn out to 4,000 feet on an outbound heading of 10 degrees. And outbound on MSP VOR radial 037 to west. Alright, so the MSP VOR. Seeing MSP, oh there it is, MSP VOR is 1153, so let's go down over here to runner side. We can go 1153 up yet? You are. So that's going to be for that, and that's going to be, we're going to track out on 037. And that is our missed approach track out there. 5 miles to go. Alright, so it's going to be a turn right heading 010, and then we pick up the outbound on that. Alright. And we'll be able to throw that into here as well once we come off of the VOR nav and go into heading mode. 3 miles to go. Levels are good, battery temperatures are good, AC is good, cabin is pressurized properly, engines are good, and we've got all our nav aids all set up and ready to go. So 2 miles we'll be able to start downwards. Alright, so there's 15 miles. So we're going to go into vertical speed mode. And we'll start our descent. Aim for that 1,000 feet. We're going to have to pull the engines back. We don't want to overspeed. And we're about 1,000 feet per minute. Cloud or haze over the city. And we don't have a chime, which is a little annoying. Got the seatbelt on in the back.
The flight crew has turned on the fasten seatbelt sign. Please return to your seat and fasten your seatbelt.
So we're going to set 3,500 as our initial.
We have begun our final descent into Minnesota. Flight attendants will lead passengers and cabin to collect any trash one final time. Please ensure tray tables are stowed and seats are in the full upright position. Please also store any carry-on items either in the seat back pocket or under the seat in front of you.
800 feet's good. Let's make sure we are all synced up and ready to go. So we're 8 miles from the VOR. I think that is supposed to be a DME gauge, but it's a lot rougher estimate than the DME gauge that we have down there, which I think is accurate. 4,000 feet, so landing lights are going to come on. Seatbelt signs are already on. We'll let them know we're coming through 10,000. Alright, there's 6 miles to go, so we're going to come over to heading mode now. Turn on that heading. We're going to switch over to the ILS frequency of 1115, and then we're going to dial in 326, which is our localizer, and 326 is set. We're going to come over and pick up the missed approach VOR, which was the 1153. Going to remember that's going to be a heading of 037 if we do have to switch over on that one. Alright, so we're now heading and descending down for the intercept. Hey Molly, I'll be done shortly. Almost time to run Molly outside. We're going to go a little bit further here. It's going to 060. Descent rate another 2 notches downwards. A little closer to that 1,000 feet per minute. Some of the industrial areas on the river. We're heading towards the little town of Hastings right now. Should be pretty much directly ahead. There it is. Actually, that's that with the island. Yeah, it's over there. How are we looking altitude-wise? 8,000. I'm going to bring her down a little steeper. Bring her right back to idle. And we're going to come right down to 2,500. Localizer. 1,200 feet per minute currently. There's Hastings. Alright, note to self, this takes longer to come down than expected. Further over. I think we're going to come in on the other side. Yeah, that's once we get down. I'll have to do a little bit of calculation to figure this out. Coming in. Your port's off there. Definitely got a bit of a haze going on. swing ourselves around. We're 22 miles out. Put that back to about 1,000 feet per minute. To go. Starting to turn in towards the VOR. To go. VOR is coming in. Waiting for the glide slope to come in. We're 19 miles out. Coming up on 2,500 feet. Start bringing that power up. There's the glide slope. Approach mode is armed. Altitude capture, there's 150 knots. Approach capture. Alright. So cabin control has checked the engine bleeds are low. Auxiliary fuel pumps are coming on. Passenger signs are on. Taxi light is on. Landing lights are on. Altimeters are set. Engine deflectors are closed. There's 16 miles. Engines are at max. Our condition levers are at max. 150 knots. So we're coming in on the ILS. So we're at 150, flaps up, and we are good. We'll hold that 150 as we come in. We are 15 miles out. Airport's not in sight. So we're on localizer before the glide slope, so we are going to bring our power back now. Bring our airspeed down to 125. And we're going to go flaps 15. Miles out, speed coming back, flaps 15. And that's going to dump our speed, so on the power, there's about 125 right there. Bring the power up. As soon as we intercept the glide slope, we're going to go gear down, bring our speed down to 100 and flaps 25. initial flight out at 10 degrees, so we'll get that set up. About there. Miles. We're heading in. Airport's somewhere over here. It's not the main airport here, that's Minneapolis, St. Paul. This is a reliever airport in the area. Oh, there's the runway, I think, right there. Fast, come back on the power. And we're holding at 2,500, going about 125, 130. Yeah, all right, you can see the runway now. Glide slope is alive. Start down, gear down, power back, and flaps 25, and speed down to 100. There we go, down we go, gear down, power coming back, flaps 25, and the speed come back to 100. 1,000 feet will go flaps full at 145, gear down 3 green, condition levers max RPM, and that's at 1,000 feet. And we'll bring the speed, which our landing speed should be down around 90 knots, 85, 90 knots. There's 100, hold her here. Watching our absolute altitude there, we're about 1,200 feet. And there we go, 1,000 feet. Flaps full. Speed down to about 90. There. Glide slope on localizer. Speed's good. There's that beautiful red tree colors, courtesy of Rex Seasons Advanced. Holding at 90, we're wallowing a bit in the wind. 600 feet. Speed's back to 185. Power up. Back to 90. Not sure why she's wallowing that much. That's okay. There's 500 feet. I have control. Gear down 3 green, flaps full, cabin notified, lights are on, no cautions. Runway is identified, and it's sight clear to land. Back online here. 90, that's good. A little high. Minimums. Continue. It's coming over the trees there, that's why the lights are flashing and flashing again. The funky waters. Bit of a crosswind. So engines in reverse, speeds right back. And that's all we needed for our landing. We are down. We're going to continue down to the
Gentlemen,
end.
welcome to Minnesota. So local
We'll
time
be going
is
up on the
3:30 p.m. and
other
it's
side
currently
here.
about 46 degrees.
We're going to get off
Fahrenheit.
at Delta,
You can now use your mobile devices. Please remain seated until the
which is
aircraft
after
comes to a
the
complete stop and the
intersection
signal
here
sign
with
is
the two
turned off.
runways.
Remember to use caution when opening
You can see how
the
short a
overhead
distance
bins,
we
as
needed
items may
there.
have been
It's
shifted during
really,
the flight.
really short.
We thank you for flying with us.
There's that other runway. Here is, it says Bravo. Should be Delta. We're gonna get off here. And we're gonna cross over the runway here. And then we'll do our checks. Yeah, these runway markings are not matching what I'm showing on the my charts. All right, so we are across the hold point. We can do our after landing. So control lock will come down and engage. Condition levers. All right, we'll bring them back to low flow, and then the condition levers for 2 and 3 will go to feather. Flaps are coming up. Collision light is red. Landing lights will come off. Strobe lights will go off. Off. We're on. Engine intake deflectors are retracted. Windshield heat will go off. Pitot heats will come off. Spoiler mode will go to taxi. Yaw damper will come off. Weather radar standby, that's fine. Transponder is off. And we are good to taxi. So we're going to head down, as I said, to the GA transit ramp, which is down at that end over there. Since there's not really a terminal per se, other than like private aircraft and FBOs and Air National Guard, stuff like that. There's the skyline downtown. And as I mentioned, this is a regional reliever airport. And we're just going to go right in here. We're a little big, but c'est la vie. I'll have to see if we can find some better airports on flightsim.to. Just pull straight in. There we go. So now we can bring engines 1 and 2 back into feather. So brakes are on. Taxi light will come off. Propeller lever or power levers are in flight. Idle condition levers are in feather. Weather radar is off. DMEs are off. Engine bleeds. Are off. 2 and 3 can shut down now. Then we'll come outside and we'll shut down 1 and 2. Or 1 and 4. Alright, while they come down, the collision light can come off. Strobes are off. That's all good. Passenger signs are off. That's off. AC generators will all come off. Right and left battery are off. Anti-skid will come off. We'll pop down to the back. Open the door. There we go. And we can shut off the aircraft.
This parking is too small for your aircraft.
Blop, 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 blop.
The boarding requested.
Envoy can do it. All right. So here we are in St. Paul, Minnesota. Hope you enjoyed the flight. It was fun flying the ATR. We'll be seeing a lot more of it as we continue on with the series. And as I said, hope you enjoyed. This is in multiplayer. If you want to join us on these flights as we fly around, you are more than welcome to do
Passenger's
so.
bus is coming.
That's cool. I do have a GSX profile, so it is going to the baggage compartment like it should, which is really, really cool. In real life, you'd now crawl up the ramp, jump inside, and pull out the bags, which I did many times.
Passengers, the boarding starting.
And the boarding is underway. So I'm going to leave you with the view here as they get off the airplane. Thanks for coming along. We'll see you on the next one. Bye for now.